You weren't born just to wake up, scroll through your phone, chase deadlines, and repeat. There's something inside you, a voice, a fire, that's been screaming for your attention. But every time you silence it, you're wasting what could have been the most powerful version of your life. Today isn't just another day. It's the day you choose to rise, or you let your story end as a whisper. You don't have time. You've already wasted enough. The weight. You carry, you walk around with a smile, but your soul is exhausted. You laugh at jokes that don't land, nod in conversations that don't touch you, and go through your daily routine like a ghost trapped in your own skin. No one sees the war inside you, the silent battle between who you are and who you pretend to be. And the truth is, you've gotten good at pretending. You pretend you're okay. You pretend you're strong. You pretend you're not breaking. Inside, from all the things you never talk about. But behind closed doors, you feel it. The heaviness in your chest, the guilt of wasted days, the weight of every opportunity you didn't take, every dream you put on hold, every version of you that never made it past the maybe someday. It's not just pain you carry, it's potential, rotting. You were born with fire. You were born with something raw and wild and beautiful inside you. But over time, the world taught you how to dim it. They told you to be realistic. They told you to know your place. They told you to settle. And you listened. Not because you believed them, but because believing in yourself started to hurt more than giving up. You stopped dreaming out loud. You stopped trying too hard. You stopped standing tall in rooms that made you feel small. And instead of becoming what you were meant to be, you started surviving. But you weren't built just to survive. You were built to rise, to fight, to build something that echoes beyond you. Still, the longer you carry this weight, the more you forget how light freedom used to feel. How it felt to wake up excited for the day instead of dreading it. How it felt to believe something good could actually happen to you. And now, you're tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of settling. Tired of feeling like a passenger in your own life. But listen to me closely. You can put it down. You can take off the mask. You can let go of the lie that says you're not enough, because the truth. You've always been more than enough. You've just been too distracted to notice. You've been focused on everything you're not instead of everything you are. You've been weighed down by expectations, judgments, and past mistakes. So, much so that you've forgotten that you have the power to break free at any moment. You just have to decide. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. You don't need to be completely healed to begin. You just need to choose to start. And it won't be instant. You won't wake up tomorrow with everything figured out. But if you can begin, even broken, even afraid, you'll be unstoppable, because movement creates momentum, and momentum is how you get free. So today, take the first step. Speak the truth you've been swallowing. Admit to yourself that you want more, that you deserve more, and then go after it like your soul depends on it, because it does. You're not here to carry weight that doesn't belong to you. You're not here to shrink, to settle, to break in silence. You're here to rise, and it starts the moment you stop pretending and start becoming. The lie you've been living, somewhere along the way you started believing a lie. Not all at once. No, it was subtle, whispered in small moments, planted in the cracks of your confidence. You didn't even notice it growing, until one day it wrapped itself around you like a second skin. The lie that you're not meant for more, that you're just average, that this life, this small, caged, muted life, is all you'll ever get. And because you believed it, you stopped asking questions. You stopped challenging yourself. You stopped stepping into rooms that scared you. Because somewhere deep inside, you decided you weren't worthy of what was on the other side. But let me tell you something you forgot. You were never average. You were just convinced to believe in limits that were never yours to begin with. They told you your dreams were too big, that you were being unrealistic, that people like you don't make it out. So you stayed put, not because you wanted to, but because you thought you had to. You were taught how to play safe, how to dim your light, how to blend in with people who gave up on themselves a long time ago. And you did it so well you started forgetting there was ever something more inside you. But that's more. It's still there. It never left. It's buried beneath the years of self-doubt, behind the walls you built to protect yourself from disappointment, under the rubble of every failure that made you question your worth. But it's alive, and it's angry, because you were meant for so much more than this. You were born to disrupt, to create, to impact, to inspire. You were born to lead, not follow. So why are you still living a life that doesn't even feel like yours? Why are you spending your days building someone else's dream, fitting into someone else's mold, walking paths you never chose? You say you don't have options, but you do. You always have. You just haven't given yourself permission to claim them, because deep down you're terrified. Terrified that if you reach for more, you might fail, that you'll prove the world right, that maybe, just maybe, the lie is true. But what if it's not? What if the biggest mistake you've made isn't failing, but never even trying? What if everything you want is waiting on the other side of one bold, terrifying, inconvenient decision? The decision to stop living a lie. You've got fire in your chest and power in your hands. But if you never use them, they become chains instead of tools. You were never meant to be safe. You were meant to be free, and freedom doesn't come from avoiding fear. It comes from walking through it, from confronting the lie, from saying, no more. No more playing small to keep others comfortable. No more shrinking because they don't understand your vision. No more apologizing for the intensity of your soul. This life, your life, is too precious to waste pretending to be someone you're not. So stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop living the lie that says your power doesn't matter. It does. And the second you believe that is the second everything begins to change. The pain. You keep hiding, you smile when they look at you. You nod when they ask if you're okay. You carry yourself like everything's fine, like you've got it together, like nothing touches you. But inside, there's a storm. A quiet ache. No one sees. A hollow space where dreams used to live. A heaviness that follows you from room to room, even when you try to outrun it, because you've been hurt. You've been let down. You've trusted people who shattered you, believed in moments that turned to dust, built bridges that only led you to more pain, and you never really healed. You just learned how to hide it better. You buried the pain so deep you forgot how to feel anything else. You distracted yourself with noise, with work, with people, with fake smiles and forced conversations, but in the silence, it always comes back. That feeling you can't explain. That question you keep running from. How did I get here? And more importantly, how do I get out? You tell yourself you're strong for surviving. And yes, you are. But surviving isn't the same as living. You weren't born to numb your way through the years, hoping someday it gets better. You weren't built to suffer in silence and call it strength. You were meant to feel deeply, to love fiercely, to hurt and heal and rise again, louder. But healing doesn't happen by pretending the pain doesn't exist. It happens when you face it, when you sit with it, when you scream if you need to, when you finally stop saying, I'm fine, and start saying, this hurt me. You don't have to carry it alone anymore. Yes, they hurt you. Yes, life knocked you down harder than you expected. Yes, you've been through more than most people will ever understand. But pain is not your identity. It's not your name. It's not your future. It's just a chapter, not the whole story. You have a choice now. You can keep holding it all in, pretending it doesn't shape you, or you can turn that pain into power. Because when you've been through the fire and you're still standing, that's not weakness. That's evidence. Proof that you are stronger than what tried to break you. Proof that your story isn't over. It's just getting louder. The pain you're hiding is real, but so is the power you're hiding behind it. And when you stop letting it control you, when you stop living like you're broken, that's when everything shifts. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be real, to be raw, to be alive. So let yourself feel, let yourself cry, let yourself fall if you have to. But then, get back up. And this time, don't carry the pain. Use it. Use it to fuel you, to remind you, to awaken something inside you that nothing, no one, can ever take away again. Because there's something stronger than pain. You. The moment. Everything can change. There's a moment. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it changes. Everything. It's the moment when you finally say, enough. Not the kind of enough you whisper when you're frustrated, but the kind that comes from deep in your chest, the kind that shakes your bones, the kind that makes the ground beneath your feet feel different. It's the moment when you stop pointing fingers, when you stop blaming the world, your parents, your past, your pain. It's the moment when you realize no one is coming to rescue you, and somehow that truth doesn't scare you anymore. It liberates you. Because for the first time, you see it clearly. You are the one who gets to rewrite this story. Not tomorrow. Not after you feel ready. Not after you fix yourself. Right now. This second. This is your moment. Not because the world suddenly became fair. Not because the pain disappeared. Not because the fear left. But because you finally decided to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start becoming the kind of person who moves anyway. You don't need a breakthrough to begin. You don't need confidence. You don't need certainty. You need a decision, a quiet, powerful decision to stop wasting your potential and start walking into the unknown, even if your knees are shaking. Because that's what courage looks like. Not loud, not proud, just consistent, relentless, unwilling to give up. You've been sleepwalking through your life, dreaming with your eyes open, promising yourself you'll change, later, always later. But what if there is no later? What if this is your only shot to become the version of yourself you keep imagining? You think you need more time, more support, more signs from the universe. But you don't. You need to move. You need to do the thing that scares you, say the words you've been choking on. Take the first step, even if it's the smallest one. Because momentum doesn't come from motivation. It comes from movement. You've already lost enough time, enough joy, enough peace. Don't let another year pass wondering what could have happened if you had just believed in yourself for real. Not the fake kind of belief where you talk big and do nothing. Not the surface-level confidence that crumbles under pressure. The real kind. The belief that's quiet and dangerous. The kind that says, even if I fail, I'm still going to try. Because that's when the world starts to bend. Not for the loudest, not for the most talented, but for the most committed. For the ones who burn their excuses and bet on themselves anyway. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are becoming. And this moment, this choice, can be the one that turns the page. So breathe. Stand up and take your first step into the life that's been waiting for you, because one moment can change everything, and this is that moment. The war inside. There's a war happening inside you, not between good and evil, but between who you are and who you could be. One side craves comfort. It wants you to stay where it's safe, predictable, familiar. It whispers, you've Done enough. Why push harder? Why risk failure? The other side? It burns. It aches every time you settle. It screams every time you play small. It's the voice that refuses to die. No matter how many times you try to silence it, you feel it when the room gets quiet. You hear it in the silence between distractions. You know it's there. Because the longer you ignore it, the more disconnected you feel from yourself. And that's the real cost of playing small. It's not just lost time. It's losing you. Because every time you say no to your potential, you say yes to your prison. You say yes to the same routine, yes to staying invisible, yes to the regret that's waiting for you at the end of a life unlived. And deep down, you know this. You've always known. But knowing isn't enough anymore. You've got to choose. Choose the fight. Choose the climb. Choose the version of you that terrifies you. Because they are so much bigger than who you are now. You think the enemy is outside of you. It's not. It's that voice that tells you to wait. That voice that tells you it's okay to settle. That voice that sounds like logic, but smells like fear. You've been fighting everyone else, but now it's time to fight you. The part of you that's addicted to comfort, the part of you that's afraid of success, the part of you that would rather stay stuck than step into something you can't control. That's the war, and the battleground, it's every decision you make when no one's watching. Will you sleep in and or rise early? Will you complain or create? Will you numb the pain and or transform it? Every little choice is a weapon. Every moment of resistance is a rep. And the more you fight, the more you remember who you are. Not who they told you to be, not who life beat you into becoming, but the real you, the unapologetic, unfiltered, unbreakable you. But you don't find that person by waiting. You find them by fighting, by dragging yourself through discomfort, by choosing growth when it's painful, by becoming dangerous in the face of doubt. Because the real enemy isn't failure, it's regret. And if you keep choosing ease over effort, comfort over courage, excuses over execution, you will wake up one day and not recognize the person staring back at you, not because they changed, but because you didn't. So stop negotiating with fear. Stop justifying your own chains. Stop living like you've got forever, because you don't. This war, you win it by moving anyway. By showing up bloody, broken, exhausted, and still saying, I'm not done. Because on the other side of that battle is the life you've been dying to live. Burn the old blueprint. You've been following a script that was never written for you. A quiet set of rules buried deep in your mind. Rules you never questioned. Be polite. Be realistic. Don't reach too high. Stay in line. Fit the mold. Don't fail. Don't stand out. Don't want too much. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. That blueprint, it's a cage. Built by parents who were scared, by teachers who didn't see you, by a world that profits off your self-doubt. And you've been living it for so long, you started thinking it was you. But it's not. It's a hand-me-down life, a recycled identity, a borrowed vision stitched together from other people's expectations. And every time you follow it, a part of you dies. The part that dreams, the part that rebels, the part that knows you were born for something different, something more. But you keep going through the motions. You wake up, you grind, you check boxes, you survive. And somewhere, in the middle of all that, you forget you're allowed to choose again. You are. Right now. You're allowed to question everything. You're allowed to outgrow the version of you that once made sense. You're allowed to destroy the plan and rebuild something that actually feels like yours. And yes, it's going to hurt. It's going to scare people. It's going to cost you comfort. It's going to force you to stand alone. But isn't that better than standing in a life that doesn't even fit? Isn't it better than shrinking to stay accepted by people who wouldn't recognize your real self if it screamed in front of them? You don't owe anyone a version of you that keeps you miserable, and you don't need their permission to evolve, because your path, it isn't on a map. It's forged in fire. It's found in silence. It's built every time you listen to that small, powerful voice that says, "This is not the life I was born for." That voice isn't your ego. It's your essence, the real you, wild, focused, defiant, calling you home. And yes, burning the blueprint means uncertainty. It means waking up without answers. It means building something new, brick by brick, without applause, without guarantees, but it also means freedom. It means finally creating a life that fits your soul instead of your fears. So rip up the rules. Let go of the plan. Stop chasing a version of success that was never meant for you, and start creating a life that feels like truth, even if no one else understands it. Because in the end, this is your story, not theirs. And every chapter you rewrite is a revolution. So light the match, watch the old script burn, and from the ashes build something that finally feels like home. The loneliness of becoming, no one tells you how lonely growth can be. Not the kind of loneliness that comes from being alone in a room, but the kind that shows up when you're surrounded by people who no longer understand you. Because the moment you decide to change, to grow, to rise, to evolve, you start to feel it. The distance. The silence in conversations that used to feel full. The awkward stares when your priorities shift. The unspoken tension when you stop playing small just to keep others comfortable. You outgrow places. You outgrow patterns. And yes, you outgrow people, and it hurts. Because you wanted them to come with you. You wanted them to see what you see now. You wanted them to understand this fire that's waking up inside you. This refusal to settle, this hunger to become something more. But they don't. Not because they're bad, not because they're holding you back on purpose, but because your evolution threatens their comfort. You become a mirror, reflecting what they've buried, ignored, or given up on, and some people can't handle that. So they drift, they mock, they pull away, or worse, they try to pull you back. And you'll be tempted to shrink again, to dim your light so they don't feel left behind, to slow your growth so you're not alone in the climb. But please, don't. You were not born to be understood by everyone. You were not made to be digestible, agreeable, or safe. You were made to break cycles, to disrupt patterns, to build something no one else has seen before, because it's never existed through you until now. And yes, that path is lonely, but it's also sacred, because in that solitude, you meet yourself, the real you. Not the filtered, edited, approved version, the raw, honest, uncompromising version, the one who doesn't need validation to keep going, the one who keeps showing up even when the cheers stop. The one who would rather stand alone in truth than belong in a room built on lies. That version of you, they're forged in the fire of loneliness. They rise through the silence. They walk with power that no crowd can give, and no rejection can take away. So when it gets quiet, listen. That's your becoming. That's your rebirth. That's the sound of you stepping into your life without apology. You don't need everyone to get it. You just need to keep going, keep building, keep rising, keep walking, even when it's dark, even when it's cold, even when you're scared, because eventually, the ones who are meant to walk with you, they'll find you. Not the old version of you, not the masked, polished, safe version. You. And when that happens, the alignment, the peace, the freedom, it'll all make sense. So for now, hold the line. Be brave enough to be alone. And remember, loneliness is not a sign you're on the wrong path. Rise through the ruins. There will come a point when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. The plans you made, shattered. The people you trusted, gone. The identity you built, cracked open, piece by piece. until you're left standing, in the ruins of the life you thought you needed. And in that moment, you will be tempted to quit. You'll ask yourself, what's the point? Why keep fighting if everything keeps breaking? But let me ask you something even more important. What if this breakdown is the beginning of your breakthrough? What if the ruin isn't punishment? It's preparation? What if life isn't tearing you down? It's stripping away what's not meant to come with you. You prayed for strength. You begged for purpose. You said you were ready to grow, but you didn't realize that becoming unbreakable means first being broken. That finding clarity sometimes means losing everything that was keeping you blind. The pain you're feeling, it's not the end of your story. It's the rebirth. The collapse is clearing space for something new, something real. Not the life you pretended to want. Not the one that made you look good on the outside while you crumbled on the inside. But the life that's true to who you really are. And yes, this part is brutal. This part is silent. This part makes you question if you're strong enough to survive it. But you are, because deep inside you, there's something the ruin can't touch, something no failure can kill, something no betrayal can break, something no storm can wash away. It's your will, your truth, your fire. And maybe no one else can see it right now. Maybe they've already counted you out. But you don't rise for them. You rise for you. Because after everything, after the loss, after the breakdown, after the tears that no one saw and the nights you almost gave up, you're still here. And that means there's still fight in you. There's still story left. There's still breath in your chest. And that breath is permission. Permission to rebuild. Permission to redefine. Permission to rise, not in spite of what you've lost, but because of it. Because now you know what it feels like to fall. And now, you get to show the world what it looks like to rise anyway, piece by piece, brick by brick, not perfect, not polished, not for anyone's approval, but raw, real, relentless. Let your scars speak louder than your silence. Let your failures build your foundation. Let your ashes become the ground you rise from, because anyone can succeed when life is easy. But the ones who inspire, the ones who change the world, are the ones who rebuild when everything's been burned to the ground. And that's you. You're not the ruins. You're the resurrection. You were meant for more. You've walked through fire. You've been bent, broken, lost in the dark. You've stared down your demons, felt the weight of the world crash into your chest, and still, you're here, still breathing, still standing. And that's not an accident. You need to understand something right now, something that most people go their entire lives without realizing. You were meant for more, not just more money, not just more status, not just more things. You were meant for more life, more depth, more fire in your veins, more purpose in your bones. You were not created to be ordinary. You were never meant to settle for just okay. You were not built to play small just because others couldn't see your vision. The fact that you've been through so much, that's not punishment. That's preparation. The late nights when no one checked in on you. The times you held back tears because you had to be strong for everyone else. The dreams that seemed so close and then slipped through your fingers. They didn't break you. They built you. They carved something inside you that no book, no teacher, no comfort zone ever could. Resilience, the kind that doesn't just get back up. It comes back with more fire, more clarity, more hunger. You see, now don't you? Every chapter of pain was a message. Every storm was a signal. It was never about the world being against you. It was about life calling you to rise. And now it's time to answer. Not just with words, not with half promises and excuses, but with movement, with action, with conviction. Look around you. The world doesn't need more people chasing trends. It doesn't need more noise. It doesn't need more people who give up when it gets hard. It needs you, fully awake, fully alive, fully lit up with purpose. It needs your heart, your vision, your fight, because someone out there is waiting on your courage to unlock theirs. Someone is watching you, silently hoping you make it, because if you can, maybe they can too. That's the power you carry. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need a sign. This is your sign. Your life is not a rehearsal. This is it. This is your time. Stop shrinking to fit into rooms you've outgrown. Stop playing roles that keep you safe, but rob you of your soul. Stop waiting for the right moment, the perfect plan, or for the fear to disappear. The fear might not leave, but you move anyway. That's courage, and with every step forward, you become more of who you were always meant to be. So breathe in the truth. You were made for this, for the rise, for the impact, for the extraordinary. No more wasting your life, now. You live it, fully, fiercely, unapologetically. This is your beginning, not the end. If this spoke to you, don't let it stop here. Hit that subscribe button because we're building something bigger than motivation. We're building transformation. Drop a comment below, "I'm done wasting my life." Let the world know you're ready to live fully, fiercely, and without apology. Share this with someone who's forgotten who they are. And remember, this life is yours. Don't waste it.